What is up, investors? So in this video, we're going to be talking about Palantir. Now, I really like Palantir stock, ticker symbol PLTR. Not a lot of people do, though, as much as they used to, I guess. There's a lot more short interest into Palantir. There's a lot of hate that the stock has been getting for reasons that I don't really know why. I think people read a little bit too much into things that are not in the favor of the investors that are trying to that are really into the stock for certain reasons, myself included. But I've always been one that has done the exact opposite of what a lot of these analysts are saying and what a lot of the short sellers are saying, because doing my own thing has just worked out well for me. That's why I invested in the Tesla very early, and I've actually done very well with that one when people told me to run away from it. So that's my strategy with Palantir. I'm going to be just investing in the stock. I like this stock. I love this stock. It's at one point, yes, it was overvalued. I get that, but it's come down a little bit. It's come down from where it was, and it is more interesting. So I want to talk about Palantir, but I'm going to do a quick run over on my watch list right now, just because I do see quite a bit of red as the market just closed. So my main watch list here, a majority of the ones that I talk about a lot in this channel are down. Some of the more safer, bigger ones like Apple and Facebook did well, but we're seeing a lot of these ones like Riot and Mira, Virgin Galactic, Roblox, Fuel Cell. So many of them are just down. But hey, we got SOS up 28% today. Come on now. That is awesome. That was a good short squeeze. But anyways, yes, we're talking about Palantir today. So as we get into it, if you guys don't mind, do me a huge favor, please, and be sure to smash, destroy, and annihilate that like button, because that helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm and helps spread these videos to more people that might find it interesting. Also, subscribe if you have not already. And if you are interested in becoming a Patreon, I have one. Link is in the description. Thanks to all the Patreons, and there's a private Discord attached to that. Now let's get to it. So Palantir stock, this one I've been talking about since before they became public. I was really amped about this one, and a lot of people weren't really excited about it when it did come out to the market back at the end of September, and it kind of was stagnant there for a little while, but then it started to get some traction just before its first earnings report to come out as a publicly traded company. And during that time, that's when we saw it really go up on this big trajectory that the stock had. And the stock had a lot of short interest back in January, and that's when we saw a lot of the short squeezes going on with GameStop and AMC, and we also saw that with Palantir, because I think the short interest was around, or upwards around 10%, I think, at that time. So a lot of people really helped pump this stock, and it's sitting up to prices upwards around $40+ a share. Actually, on the 52-week range, the price is between $8.90 and $45 per share. But now we've seen it come back down more to earth, and it's trading at a price that makes more sense in comparison to where this stock kind of balanced out just before the big short squeeze that happened first time. Now, on Yahoo Finance, the short percent of float, according to from March 15, 2021, was 2.6%. But different websites have different information on what the short percent of float is. We have the market beat right here. It's saying it's 3.6%. That's according to also March 15th. So the information is very different on different websites that you get your information from. But still, that's much better than saying 10%. Now, I think that it's great that they have much lower short interest in the stock now. So that short squeeze really did help out. To go to their different earnings reports that they did release as a publicly traded company, the first one, when we saw the stocks really start to go on this big trajectory, that came out on November 12th, and then the second one came out on, looks like, February 16th. Now, we have the first quarter report for 2021 that is going to be coming out on May 13th, so we have that to look forward to. But just to talk a bit about the quarterly reports that came out in 2020, I think that the information on those was really good, and this is why I like this stock a lot. When we break down each quarter in 2020, what we know is that they continuously grew their revenues in 2020. First quarter, $229 million. Second quarter, $251 million. Third quarter, $289 million. Fourth quarter, $322 million. But their expenses in the last 2 quarters of 2020 were a lot more in comparison to the first 2 quarters of 2020, where their operating expenses in Q3 2020 were $987 million. And in the fourth quarter, $408 million. But this can be easily explained because if you look at what they were spending on research and development in the first 2 quarters, $65 million for the first quarter, $86 million for the second quarter, but a lot more money went into research and development in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, mainly in the third quarter, with $313 million spent in the third quarter and $94 million spent in the fourth quarter. And we also saw their other expenses besides research and development go up a lot in those last 2 quarters of 2020 as well. Now, one of the things that Palantir gets criticized a lot about is because they're not an income positive company. And what I want to show in this video is that they easily could be an income positive company, but they're spending a lot of money on things like research and development and growing their business. Remember, this is a growth company. You're not investing into something safe like Apple. If you want to invest in something like that, go ahead and invest into that. But if you're somebody that wants to invest into a growth company, then Palantir is that type of company. Regardless of how long this company has been around for, it takes these businesses a long time to really establish themselves, which is why they waited so long to actually become a publicly traded company. This isn't some sort of company that's saying, hey, let's go public on this idea and then let's just keep diluting our shareholders. That's not the case with Palantir. And let's make some more sense of this. So the net income is posted down here, so just a look at that for some verification, but hopefully you can see what I'm going to be pulling up on the graphs here. So the first quarter, their total revenue is $229.33 million and a net income of $54.27 million. Second quarter 2020, total revenue $251.89 million, net income negative $110.45 million. Third quarter 2020, total revenue $289.37 million, net income negative $853.32 million, and fourth quarter 2020, total revenue $322.09 million, net income $148.34 million. Now the big thing is here is that there was even a possibility that they could have been net income positive in Q1 2020, because if you just look at how much they spent on research and development for that quarter, they spent $65.8 million that quarter. And well, when you take that into perspective, then they easily could have been a net income positive company during that time. And they could have easily been even more if they would have just continued doing what they were doing in Q1 2020 without spending so much money on research and development. But that's not the case. You're not investing into a company that is just trying to play it safe and grow from that point. This company is trying to still establish itself and still grow into the company that they're trying to become in the future. And there's still a lot more contracts to come with them, and they're trying to grow those contracts. They're not trying to just say, oh, we got all these government contracts and that's it. No, that's not the case. So let's look at their balance sheet for 2020. They don't have Q1 for whatever reason, but you get the idea. What we can see is they continue to grow their total assets each quarter, and most of that is due to cash. They grew their cash. Now, when we compare their total assets to liabilities, we can see the trend here. So their total assets for Q2 2020 was $1.89 billion, and total liabilities $1.16 billion. And as far as their debt goes, $297.58 million in debt, and all that was long-term debt. Now, when we go over to Q3 2020, their total assets were $2.6 billion, total liabilities $1.35 billion, long-term debt, and their total debt $197.75 million. What does that mean? They paid down $100 million of debt that quarter for Q3 2020, and that's why one of the reasons why their expenses were much higher in Q3 2020, other than just spending a lot more money on research and development. Now, Q4 2020, total assets $2.69 billion, total liability $1.17 billion, and long-term debt $427.78 million. And something else worth mentioning, even though they acquired more debt in Q4 2020, their liabilities still did shrink from where they were at Q3 2020. So just keep that in mind as well. So seeing how Palantir grew each quarter in 2020, I can expect that the first quarter of 2021 is going to be big in comparison, because there's a few things that we do know. We know that they made a partnership with IBM in the first quarter of 2021. They also reported that they were seeing the revenues up 45% in the first quarter of 2021. They also expanded their deal that they had with 3M, and they went in a partnership with Amazon Web Services. And then also throw on that they just won a bid a couple days ago for a 5-year contract with the National Nuclear Security Administration. So they're expanding their government contracts as well. And I'm not the only one that sees a lot of growing potential with Palantir, because there is a lot of smart money and institutions and deep pockets spending a lot of money on buying shares of Palantir. We got Vanguard, BlackRock, Soros, JP Morgan, and also everybody's favorite, ARK Invest. And all those deep pockets and institutions and fund managers, they make up more than 30% of the total ownership of Palantir stock. So when you think about how much of Palantir stock is owned by them, and think about how just not that long ago, there was a very large short interest in this stock. Now, there's a lot of money being pumped into it at this much lower price. So think about that and use that to your advantage, because be cautious of the news that you hear on Palantir. A lot of big pocket money sees that there's a lot of potential here, and they want to make sure that they're winning in the end here. And I just want to make sure that everybody else is winning with Palantir stock as well. So I hope this information was able to help you, but don't take it as any sort of financial advice. This is my own personal opinion. So just take that with, well, however you want. Anyways, so as always, everybody, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. New videos coming out on my channel all the time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next video coming very soon.